Okay, hello. Today I am talking books. Love, love, love books. So I want to share six books that really changed my life, had a massive impact on me, because I often get asked what books I have found really useful. So I wanted to just share my top six at the moment. And these change continuously. So I'll just take you through them now. And books are a funny thing because they're very magical, but they will always depend on where you are on your journey, what resonates with you. So take or leave any of these. And sometimes you might find that you buy a book, leave it on your shelf for 6 months like I do, and then suddenly you pick it up and read it at the perfect time, the perfect divine moment. So that a lot of that happens as well. So it's good to just allow the magic. So first book was one I read quite a few years ago, quite a long time ago. I can't even remember when now. I say that, but it's probably maybe like 10 or 12 years ago. I forget. But anyway, Your Soul's Plan. And I've definitely spoken about this before. This book by Robert Schwartz, Discovering the Real Meaning of the Life You Planned Before You Were Born. So I did on the Awaken Lippy show that I was doing last year. Every week I shared a book. So some of these are repeating those books that I shared, but I thought it's nice to just put it into one video. So Your Soul's Plan is such a great book. When I read this, I already had a lot of knowledge around our souls and our past lives, and it was one of the things I came into in this lifetime knowing, so I didn't have to learn it. I just knew as a very young girl that I'd been here before many times and that we all have come to experience our current lifetime. So but this book for me, I think I read it around the time I was recovering from illness. I think it might have been that time, and it just pulled in like the life challenges that we have, and sometimes we we don't always find it easy to accept that when we go through something terrible, something happens to us, that we might have chosen it. And it's a very can be a challenging topic for some people. So this book really dives into that, and it's beautiful, and it goes into like different like our pre-birth planning, and then different things and the reasons why various people might have opted for these types of lives and these types of experiences. So it's a real book of expansion. And there's another one by the same author, I think, Your Soul's Gift, which is around, again, similar themes, but bringing in your gift into the world. So if you like this book, you'll probably want to read that one as well. But that really that felt really good reading that one. Love that book. So the next one I read just a few years ago. And I love the style of it because it's just the author. He's just very good at explaining logical scientific aspects, but bringing it in with the spiritual, and it makes so much sense, and it will open your mind. And it's Reality Unveiled by Ziad Masri. And this is all about just understanding our reality. And I love this book because, again, there were concepts I knew, but reading it in this way, it brought in, because I love both sides. So I love the spiritual, but also like the practical and the grounded, and to have concrete, down to earth examples. And he does that in this book. And I just remember reading it, like feeling very inspired and creative, because really, when you understand how reality works, you understand that it's not just solid objects around us, it's all energy and vibration. And when you really understand that beyond like the nice quote on social media, you really get it, you can start to feel the magic of who you are, of how you live your life, and how you get to create, which are things I talk about all the time. So this book is one of my favorites, and I probably reread it at some point this year. So I definitely recommend that for like growth and seeing the world through a very different lens, and it will definitely open that up for you, and you will feel good. You will absolutely feel good reading that book. I love that book. Okay. It's hard to narrow them down because I have books all around the house in different areas. Me and Michael both have a lot of books, so yeah, I'll just pick the ones that I've read more recently and they had a massive impact. So this one was the one that I've seen people talk about it over the years. I don't know when that was written, quite some time ago, in the 90s, I think. Always kind of turned my nose up at it a little bit and didn't ever resonate with me until early 2020, when I was really unwell and I was in bed for like a month. I had some sort of thing that was going around at the time. And these books found me. So it's Conversations with God. So don't let the word God put you off if you are not that way inclined. Neale Donald Walsch. Because I was brought up Catholic. So I had the kind of religious side of my family, but I never really felt connected with it. And I don't now. I don't follow religion, but it's the spiritual aspect. So I was put off by Conversations with God, but somebody posted it on Facebook, a random person, and it just caught my attention. So I ended up ordering it. And then when I read it, it really moved and shifted me. It expanded me. Everything just, it was like I think it's a very activating book, and it shifted me into this whole other relationship with God, universe, source, whatever you want to attach to it, doesn't matter. And the myth, right, that God is this judgmental, figure that judges us and dishes out punishments and, rewards. It's just, I never bought into that anyway, but it just isn't how it is. And I know that's challenging for any of you that maybe are following the religious, program. But obviously, if this doesn't resonate with you, just leave what I'm saying. I'm not here to convince anyone, but it's just from my soul is how I feel. But these books are brilliant. And this is book 1. There's book 2, book 3, and book 4 if you're really into them. But they're literally like conversations, and they're just amazing. I recommend, if you haven't, to read this book. It is a magical, amazing book. And there's also a film of it that's very, very, really emotional for me anyway. You can find it on YouTube. You can watch the film version of the guy who channeled this book and what he went through and how he came to write this book. It's so fascinating. So absolutely love those books. It opens up this whole dialogue, and it's very empowering. Again, it's just empowering, and it makes you feel connected. So for me, it really tapped me back. And you know what it did? It tapped me back into the word God, actually, because I had that word growing up in a religious context, put it to one side. But I felt like, using the word God for source, however you relate to it, it sort of tapped me back into that, and it felt really lovely and really, really powerful. So I love, just a big fan of those books, massive fan of those books. So number 4, this one was a funny little book that was sent to me. My daughter found it, and she ordered it and sent it to me because she got the nudge that I needed to read this, and I absolutely did. It was a very magical time for me, and it was finding stuff on there. Finding Yourself for Star Seeds and Light Workers. It's a very thin book, but this is an activations book. So it's reconnecting with your galactic support and mission, which I know a lot of you are feeling, and they're activations from 7-star races. And this is it's a very small book, and it's got just little sections from different star races. And one of them, this is the funny thing, when because if you know me, you'll know that I'm an Arcturian channel, as well as a channel for the angelic realm. But the Arcturians, star beings, are the ones that I connect with, and that's my soul origin. And so it just happened around the time when I was being guided into all this stuff around star seeds. I'd never heard of it before, and this star seed word kept coming in, and I was following various people online who were talking about it, and I was really being drawn into it. So my daughter sent me this book out of the blue, and there was a chapter on the Arcturian. Each of them gives you a gift of different, it's a really great book, and there was an Arcturian section, so I read the Arcturian section before I went to bed, and it's one of those ones where you read the words and really let them activate you, wash over you. And that night I'd had a bit of a funny experience. When I woke up in the morning, my husband Michael had said that he'd heard me, he was a bit taken aback, and he'd heard me, what he describes almost like Morse code, strange sounds were coming out. it sounded like Morse code because there was like a rhythm to it. And he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I slept brilliantly. I feel amazing." And he thought that was really strange. And then that led me to, I started to feel different. I started to wake up in the night. I was getting all of these downloads and activations. Everything was happening. And then, of course, I got led to the Perfect Teacher mentor online, and then I found out more about the Arcturians, and then I ended up just activating myself, and then ended up being a channel, which honestly it was never what I had planned, but of course my soul had planned it all along. So it was so I'm not saying you're going to read this book and like you're going to become a channel, but it activated, I know that it activated me, but it was the divine timing. So if you feel drawn, some of you will. Here you go. So you don't know what's in store for you. Okay. And then book number 5 on the same subject. I think a little bit after that, when I started I connected into being Arcturian and channeling. I was guided to this book, We the Arcturians, which is an amazing book. Yeah. Dr. Norma J. Milanovich. Really great book. And it's a channeled book. It's another channeled book where the authors are just channeling the Arcturians. Since I read this and my channel was opened, I asked them, I said, "Is this book accurate?" And they said yes. So if you want to know more about the Arcturians, they were saying, yes, this book has got a lot of accurate information. It's absolutely genuinely channeled. It's quite a lengthy book, but it's this stirred me up as well. Some of you are supposed to read this book. You will feel that you do, because it's also an activating book, and even if you're not, you don't have to be Arcturian origin starseed, but it gives you so much information of higher dimensional beings. So we are going to hear a lot more about higher dimensional beings over the years throughout our life. So if you want to learn more about how they live and what they're about, you will really receive some amazing information in this book. Highly recommended. Definitely. I love that. And then the last one, which was just mind-blowing and very enjoyable, was this book, which I read just last year. It's there's another one to this one. Yep. Dolores Cannon, good old Dolores Cannon, Conversations with Nostradamus. Such a magical book. It's kind of heavy on the details, if you like, kind of like quite how would I say it? Like it's not an easy read, but it's a detailed read. But what I love about this was that Dolores Cannon has done so much work on quantum everything, but she was all these books are really about channeling, aren't they? But she was channeling Nostradamus. But the amazing thing about this was she wasn't channeling as in his spirit, his ghost, his spirit from the past. He was being very clear that she was connecting with him from another timeline. So this, for me, opened up this whole awareness or remembrance of how timelines are, that the past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. So in our minds, we have it as linear, that past was yesterday and today's the present, tomorrow's the future. But in reality, if there is such a thing, past, present, future simultaneously occur. So this book was very mind expanding, to even consider the idea of how she channeled Nostradamus, but in the present. So it was his present and her present. It's amazing. And she's very, if you don't know Dolores Cannon, she's very scientifically minded and very logical and analytical. So she does really, in this book, it explains how it all came to pass and how they were guided, her and a team of a few others. But it's fascinating. And there is another, I haven't read it yet. Yeah, this is volume 1, but I think there is a volume 2, which I'll probably read at some point because it's so interesting. So that it just kind of opened up that reality, right? That it is not, the world is not what we have been taught. we were not taught any of this at school. So this is why I'm so passionate about books like this, expanding our minds and expanding our knowledge, because when we have this knowledge, we are even more empowered, more creative, and we're able to step into our true natures. And we are so much more powerful than, you know, you've been led to believe, than that we've all been led to believe. So I love books like this. Yeah, so those are my six kind of powerful, impactful books. And on that note, I will just share with you now that I'll be releasing details when the time is right, in the next few weeks. But I am going to be releasing my book that I'm in the process of writing now. It's taken me a long time to get over the fears and get over the blocks and things, to actually sit down and write. But yeah, I am absolutely, without a doubt, will be releasing my book this year, soon, like in the next couple of months kind of thing. It'll be very soon. So I shall share details with you on that, seeing as you are watching this video and you love books. Yeah, so I won't share details yet, but I'll let you know soon what that is going to be. So yeah, that's a big thing coming up for me this year. So let me know, feel free to pop in the comments any books that you have read that have impacted your life. So I've read so many, but these ones particularly, they were more than just information. They shifted me, they activated me, they changed and heightened my perceptions and my perspectives. So they're incredibly powerful. So I'd love to hear yours, which ones did it for you. Yeah, let me know in the comments. All right, so sending you lots of love, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.